Hi, I'm Larry Burns with Gail and John Urso, founders of Kevin's Song, an organization dedicated to suicide awareness and prevention in Michigan and the entire United States. Gail and John, thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Larry.
You started Kevin's Song after the death of your son, Kevin. Tell us about that journey and the creation of the organization and the mission.
Well, obviously, the loss of a child is life-changing for any parent and for loved ones. And there's a lot of negative energy that comes with that. And Gail and I talked about what could we do? And so we really turned, I think, that negative energy into something that was positive in that we determined that when we lost our son Kevin, we knew nothing at all about suicide, suicide awareness, suicide prevention. And of course, we'd read everything we could possibly read and realize that there were resources all over the United States and certainly here in Michigan, and just determined that there was no coordination of all of those resources. And so our mission was, and continues to be, to bring these experts together and to try and raise awareness to the issues of suicide, its prevention, and making everyone aware that if you see something, say something. So in September of the year that we lost Kevin in 2013, we incorporated Kevin's Song. And then we had a friend, an attorney, file for a charitable organization, a 501c3 under the Internal Revenue Code. And he told us it'll be 18 months before you'll hear anything. Almost to the day after we incorporated Kevin's Song in September of 2014, we were awarded a charitable designation as a 501c3, and that allowed us to then move forward with our mission, our goal of having conferences, and we are looking at our fourth conference in January 2020.
So, and you mentioned the resources that are available, and suicide impacts all different ages. But tell me about suicide in young people and how education can play a role in that.
Well, there is fortunately a lot more emphasis now on education in schools. And part of our conference this year is going to include a school summit for the first time, in which we're expecting educators from all over the state. And we want teachers, school counselors, school social workers, and so on, to leave that day with tools that will help them back in the classroom, because everyone has to be aware of what to look for, to how to help. Because so often, like with our son, we had no idea that suicide was a possibility. And so that was one of the reasons that we founded 50,000 people will die of suicide this year. One person every, I think, 11 minutes.
Yeah. So how about people at risk? What advice have you learned that you might be able to give people that might be at risk?
Well, I always think that the counsel you can give to someone who is struggling is, you're going to get through this. It's going to get better. You just need to reach out and trust that someone that you reach out to will help. They often talk about people who are in that mode of suicide or ending their life by suicide. They feel like they're in a tunnel and everything around them is black. And so reaching out for someone that loves you, identifying that. Gail was telling me this morning about a police officer who talked a young man off of a bridge, and it's a video. Maybe you can feel, it's just this police officer had these wonderful skills, saying to this young man, "Don't do this. I was where you were at one point in time." So,
one of the problems has been the stigma associated with mental illness and suicide. And so a big goal of what we all do is try to break down that stigma so that when someone is feeling that terrible, they know it's okay to reach out for help. They don't need to be ashamed. They don't need to be embarrassed. They need to reach out. And
it's okay not to be okay.
And it's okay, perfect,
Yeah.
not to be okay.
Well, Gail and John, thank you for what you're doing. And the Children's Foundation, I know, looks forward to being involved for a long time.
well,
And Kevin,
thank you and the Children's Foundation for
welcome.
what you're doing for Kevin's song.
you're welcome.
It's appreciated.
And so many others.
Right. Thank you very much.